Welcome to the Tesla Power Podcast. This is the Tesla Energy community covering solar panels, solar roof, and Powerwall for your home. I'm Brady. Today, let's talk about adding solar capacity to existing installations. Let's talk about cell level capacity of battery storage systems. Let's talk about how good the solar roof underlayment is. And breaking news, the solar roof is now nearly 25% more powerful. Let's do it. So this podcast is so much better when we get input from the community. We need photos, we need videos, we need questions, comments from you. Yeah, you. So you can leave a comment on this video. You can call 203-816-5150, or you can email teslapowerpodcast@gmail.com. You can also send your links from your own videos posted on YouTube. This might even be the best way, so think about doing some of that. Now, our first comment comes from one of the comments on the videos. It's from J. Scott 1213, who comments on episode 10. And it's there that I was noticing that the solar roof only covers about 40% of our electricity needs here. So J. Scott 1213 writes, quote, "A carport and or a covered patio with panels would work. Although it's undersupplying, it really looks good on your home," end quote. And I agree, it looks damn good. Just to be clear, though, I don't know yet if the system is underproducing. So that would be if the roof isn't producing the contracted amount of electricity. But you are right that it's undersupplying, and some sort of energy supplement would be helpful. So I think the carport or patio idea, there's something there. But what I would really prefer is to have more solar capacity in my roof. More efficient solar roof tiles. What would be an interesting exercise, though, is to see if traditional panels would have supplied enough to cover my usage. So let's do a little math. If I first bring up our layout, I'll just scroll it up there and then bring it full screen. You can see here, this is the layout of the roof. You can see where we're able to put panels. That would be on this back section here and this front section here, a little bit on this back section here. So we're just going to replace this capacity with this capacity here just to make the math a little easier. And you'll see the total square footage of 2,000 square feet is available. You'll see my current system's a 13.5 kilowatt system, so we'll need the solar system to be about 30 kilowatts to cover our total usage. So let's head over to the Tesla website to get their panel dimensions and output rating. I have that pulled up here. Now, you'll see their panels are in package sizes, and, straight up, it's not that helpful. Not for this exercise anyway. The largest system we could get, you can see, is only going to be 17 kilowatts, and we would need to almost double that. So we can find, some detail in an older electric article. So let me pull that up really quickly. This one's back from July 13th of this year. In this article, they have a script doc that links to the more detailed information. It shows the physical dimensions and the power rating of the panel. Now, I've got a separate screenshot of that so we can zoom in a bit. Let me just pull that up. It's not the highest resolution, I just want to warn you, but let me bring that up so it's as high resolution as possible. And you can see, it's hard to see here, but you can see the dimensions are 40 inches by 82.5 inches. So let's convert that into feet. 42, look at that, 42 divided by 12, it's 3.5 feet. And 82 divided by 12 is about 7 feet, 82.5 by 12. This will allow us to see how many panels we can get on our roof. Now this will make, it's here on the tape, sorry, 3.5 feet by almost 7 feet. And, that's pretty darn big panel. So let's see how many of those we can fit on the roof. So let's get the dimensions of my roof in feet. And to do that, we'll look at that layout again. What I'm really doing from this solar roof drawing is I'm taking the dimensions of the solar tile and I'm using that to bring up the linear feet. So if we count out all of the tiles, it shows we have 28 linear feet. going this direction, north to south. So that's 14 feet on each roof segment from top to bottom, and then 60 linear feet left to right. That's east to west across the front of the house. Again, just to make it a lot simpler. So we're right on that 7-foot divisor to allow panels to stack on this part. So we have 14 and 14. So if we just put that in, 14 divided by, 14 divided by 7 for each side. It's really supposed to be 28. So 2 times 2. So we can fit 4 panels. 1 panel, 2 panel, 3 panel, 4 panel. That way. And then we had 60 linear feet going the other way. And those are 3.5 feet wide. So it's going to give us about 17 panels going wide. So 17 times 4, right? It's about 68 panels. So if we were to stack each of those roofs too high on each, we can get those 68. That's pretty lucky. And that's from east to west and north to south, just on those 2 roof segments, even though we'd move that 1 roof segment over to the back of the house. But that's the total area that can accommodate those 68 solar panels. And let's see what that production capacity adds up to, right? Or multiplies up to. So if we have 68 panels and they are each 420 watts, of course, we're talking 28, almost 29 kilowatts, 28.5 kilowatt system. So that doubles what we have today, but we will still not cover all of our capacity. Sorry, I meant to have that calculator up the whole time. So just to go back, so we have 28 feet divided by the 7 feet tall, so we can fit 4 panels from north to south. And then we have 60 linear feet divided by not 7, but 3.5. So we get 17 panels wide. So that's 17 times 4 is that 68 number. And then 68 times 420 watts per panel is 28.5. So that's all the math. Sorry, I want to make sure I got it on screen there for you. But, the long and the short of it is it doesn't cover our total electricity requirement. Based on the projected production of the system, we'll still end up 10% short of our current usage. And you know what? The estimate lines up really closely with what we've seen so far. And we're going to dig into some of those numbers maybe in the next video. But this means that even if I had opted for Tesla solar panels, we would not be able to cover our electricity needs with the single electric car we have now. And we plan to get another in the future. So what to do? Are we really to put in another roof structure for solar panels, just as J. Scott 1213 suggests? Has some utility, not going to lie. But I counter that we're lucky to have the amount of roof space we currently have available for solar. A lot of people, they might have this size of roof, but it might be facing the wrong way, or to be shaded, or, it's occluded, or maybe, their house is taller and not as wide as ours, so they just don't have the roof area to accommodate it. So, it's good. I see it being very difficult for a lot of the planet to be able to meet their solar needs, or to meet their electricity needs with solar generation alone. It's going to require something else. So I've posited a few times on this channel that Tesla will need to add an additional mode of electricity generation to supplement current solar product offering. And I believe that will be a wind turbine of some sort. Now, I can concede that residential doesn't need to make 100% of its electricity needs. Some of it will need to come from the grid. But I'm pointing out that if household electricity demand is going to triple, then solar alone is just not enough. Of course, Tesla and industry consultants agree that energy production will need to be a combination of solar and wind. So if that's true, then wind for residential is an inevitable eventuality and straight up an enormous opportunity. So I'll do an episode on residential wind, and we'll dig into, the forms it could take, the kind of products that might be interesting to offer in that space. We'll go through some of the pluses, the minuses, the overall value proposition for both homeowners and for the utilities. All right, next we have, here we go. We have a comment on episode 18 where I was breaking down our nearly $400 savings in a single month. So Andy Murchison compares current home energy storage systems to commercial options. Quote, the largest commercial ESS systems use cells almost the size of paper towels. The more surface area, the better. It's that simple, end quote. So when I make a quick search on commercial ESS to make sure that commercial ESS stands for Commercial Energy Storage Systems, ESS, I get the following link as the top result, ESS Inc. So let me bring that full screen here. Now you'll see this is an energy storage system, that the name of the company is Energy Storage Systems Inc., which provides a technology called iron flow batteries. If we click learn more about iron flow, or learn more about flow batteries, it should be down here, we get a nice animation showing the principle and chemistry of the tech, right down here. It's not showing anything like paper towel size cells, but it does point out that the system's independent or is dependent on electron flow through a membrane, something that invokes paper towels for me. So I don't know, let's see if I can find something that references this form factor specifically. So if I pull up just a regular web page search, bring it full screen. Right. When I was doing the search earlier, I couldn't find anything helpful. So I see types of batteries, but this is really not exactly what we're looking for. So I'm not sure if you're talking about iron flow, but all I can say is that we really don't get anything helpful here. What I would assume we're talking about, though, are pouch cell form factors, and that those pouch cells would be about the size of paper towels. But this doesn't give us any detail on the chemistry or the packaging that might inform how this can translate into higher storage capacity for home energy storage systems expressly. So what is clear, though, is that we need a massive increase in home storage capacity, right? And this can only be accomplished by bringing in affordable, low-maintenance options to market. So if you've got some insight, I'm really interested in hearing more. So send me more on that. All right, next up, we have more detail on Northampton's install. Their home project is, quote, I placed my initial order at the end of August and accepted the design on September 2nd for a 13.26 kilowatt solar roof and 2 Powerwalls. Eversource is our utility. Tesla has scheduled our roof rip for November 10 and our solar roof install on November 30. Will the Tesla waterproof underlayment be enough not to leak during the 20-day gap between the roof rip and the new roof install? End quote. Now, first of all, that time is going to fly by. So, super exciting. I'm telling you now, that time is just going to zip by. But get some video and share it with us. And if you're cool with me coming out to check things out, send me an email at teslapowerpodcast at gmail.com and we'll make some arrangements. But this is almost exactly the same system I put in, and you're going to love it. And as far as the underlayment, it's really robust. In fact, I've got a sample of it here. And you can see that it's a really thick material. So it comes in these rolls. This is made by a third party called FT Synthetics. It does happen to have Tesla branding on it, though the little segment that I have doesn't show any of that. But you can see the underlayment backing here with the adhesive just peels right off, and then this would stick to the top of your roof. And the way that it's applied, it heavily overlaps at the seams and at the flashing, so that the underlayment layer is really a roof in its own right. So the solar glass roof is like a second roof that's put on top of it. So we had about a week between the underlayment and the roof install, and during that week we had some significant rain. We didn't have a single issue with moisture getting into the attic, and not even into the vaulted ceilings. We would definitely notice it since our living room vaults directly under the decking, and it had shown a bit of water staining from our previously worn out roof, allowing moisture through. So I'd say it's a pretty good sign. And I was nervous, just like you, but it turned out really great. I will say, though, that Tesla offered to pull our roof off in November the previous year, which would have left us with only an underlayment roof through 3 major snowstorms. We said no thanks. I mean, we didn't know how bad the winter was going to be, but it just seemed like an excessive amount of time. Yeah, it may have been fine. Can't know the counterfactual for sure, though. Tesla's got some cojones to offer something like that. And I don't know, it may give you some insight on how confident they are that the underlayment on its own is plenty to protect the house, even in the medium term with rain, snow, ice, and all the rest. So congratulations on your solar roof order. We look forward to hearing more about your install and getting to see some visuals soon. Next up, we have Stephen Green. He is excited. His install date's coming up, so let's bring his full screen. Quote, getting my Tesla panels and 2 batteries installed on November 5, hopefully. I'm in New Fairfield and use Eversource. We'll take photos and send them to you, end quote. Steven, super exciting. So what's the size of your system, and what did you decide to, why did you decide to go solar in the first place? Just curious if you're like someone like me who just wants to be cool, or if you've got a specific need you're looking to fill. But I got to say, I'm super jealous that you're in the Eversource service area. If you would, please share your experience with their demand response program. There's still a lot, for us in the community to learn about the program and, that the value that it might be able to provide. Especially for those that are looking for battery storage in the Eversource service area. So we look forward to getting a look at the photos and if you're able to provide any videos. But congratulations. And then Eric Hale, he asks a question I hadn't heard before. Let's bring that full screen. Quote, have you heard of anyone reporting higher in-home temperatures due to the installation of the solar roof? End quote. And I have not. So I can also confirm that the attic was the same peak temperatures through the summer, pre-solar roof and post-solar roof. Though I've got to admit, I was hoping it would be a bit cooler because the glass tiles are slightly reflective and the system's vented. I believe the issue, though, is the underlayment. It's because it's such an effective moisture envelope, it doesn't vent the heat any better than the asphalt roof we had before. So neutral overall effect between asphalt roof and solar glass roof. And I don't know, maybe that's impressive considering, it's like having 2 roofs put on your home instead of just one. Of course, it's the insulation in the attic that affects the temperature in the home. We have 18 inches of batting insulation, so our home temperature isn't affected by the high temps in the attic, nor the cold temps in the attic over the winter. But let me call on the community. Has anyone had a solar glass roof installed and found that the house heated as a result? Let us know about your experience and how it affects temperatures in your home. So thank you to J. Scott 1213, Andy Murchison, Northampton Arts Council, Stephen Green, and Eric Hale for their input in this podcast. If you have something to contribute, comment below, call 203-816-5150, or email teslapowerpodcast@gmail.com. Of course, you can send a link to your video that you've posted on YouTube as well. Let's take a quick break, and I'll catch up on a little bit of news. So Inside EVs reports on Tesla's third quarter results in its energy division. Quote, let's bring it full screen. In Q3, Tesla energy revenues amounted to $806 million, 5.9% of the total revenues, while the cost of revenues stands at $803 million. The profit is pretty small, end quote. And, the swan song continues on Tesla's slow-growing energy business. The good news is that installs don't seem to have dropped precipitously since dropping the solar lease option or doubling the price of the solar roof. Now, it's likely that the grid-scale products are really the lion's share of the sales in this segment. So if we're going to be honest, we may not see the negative effects of these two moves much in the financials. Interestingly, though, there was essentially no mention of Tesla residential energy on this quarter's earnings call. It doesn't give us any additional color on the state of the Tesla residential energy business, though they did touch on some of the grid scale stuff. I mean, it just gives, an idea of how much priority this is for Tesla, and it's not much of a priority for investors either. They're not looking at that part of the business, to value the company. Of course, the move to instate a referral program for residential solar is likely to take time to show material results on Tesla's financials anyway. All right, next up, we have the Washington Post. Let me bring that full. Sorry, the Washington Post, right, reports on residential solar incentives we could expect to pass in the Build Back Better bill. Bringing it full screen. The part that I'm reading is quite a ways down here, and it's not even that much mentioned. Yeah, right here. The White House said that the new bill would cut costs of installing solar on a residential rooftop by about 30%, shortening the payback period by about 5 years, end quote. Now, most of you will probably know that there's currently a 26% credit available that's been reduced from 30% in 2019. Of course, that begs the question, is this 30% savings on top of the current 26% savings? This article offers no detail at all, and personally, I would not expect the residential energy incentive to go beyond 30%, right? And let's face it, that's pretty darn good. From just the federal incentive, there are state and local incentives that can be applied on top of that. So, I mean, if I'm going to look at this from a tax policy perspective or, a tax policy perspective, I would say that we need to increase battery supply so prices can come down. So where I'd prefer to see incentives is on the job creation and manufacturing side, if anything. If we can increase supply and decrease the cost of manufacturing, then we can bring down just the nominal cost. We don't even have to look at government incentives, to directly bring the price down. Of course, putting those incentives in does create more demand, and that should in turn spur more production. But the spin up for these kinds of products takes a really long time. Building that supply chain, getting the permits to work with the chemicals. A lot of this is hazardous material stuff, so that's going to take a long time to spin up production. So really, the incentives need to be on the production side at the moment. And I've talked a lot about how solar and wind both need batteries in order for their added capacity to be stabilized. Otherwise, they have a destabilizing effect on grid. So there's a lot of reason for the incentive to go on the supply side rather than on the demand side, in my opinion. So let's bring up the next article. This is something that I was digging for in the Tesla Motors Club. I was looking for evidence from that caller last episode who had said that the capacity on their solar roof had been increased. Now, this has since been broken by Electrek because I couldn't get the episode out soon enough, but I did my research, and in the Tesla Motor Club forums, PTF1, a new member in Alabama, posted the following. So if I can get down to that post right here. So that was posted on October 26th. He says, quote, Tesla is speccing the new tiles for my current design. Let me bring it full screen here. Here's the data sheet sent from the Solar Advisor. Can't find a link on their website yet. Tiles are the same physical size and use the same mounting and wiring hardware as the previous SR60T1 tiles, just improved efficiency. I'm assuming that they look identical to the SR60T1 tiles, no photo on the data sheet.